What is going on, Thumbs? This is Brother2 bringing you guys our next team prep video here on our channel for the LDL, the Lonely Draft League. This week for week 2, we are going to be taking on Coach Steven, the president of TLTPG, and the Russleville Rockets. If you guys are excited for this video, definitely leave a thumbs down below as I go and dive into his team and then go over our team and what I am going to be bringing this week. Steven has a very interesting team. There are a lot of Mons that I'm shocked that are there, and then there are Mons that work really well together. And so there's like a mixed match of things that I know, that I can't handle, and then there are things like I'm not sure if it's gonna come or not, because these Mons I've never seen used before. So let's just go from the top to the bottom. Heatran. Very, very scary Mon. Having the flash fire ability, able to eat up any fire attack that we do send its way. Does have that ×4 weakness to ground type moves, but usually sometimes it can be run stealth rocks, it can be specs, it can be scarfed substitute sets. Very, very scary Mon. If it's bulky, it's going to be a problem. If it's going to be offensive, it's just going to be just as problematic. So we have to, kind of like Jirachi last week with Matt, we're probably going to have to figure out what set this Heatran is fairly quickly in order to play around it. Next up is Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash pairs incredibly well actually with Heatran, being able to avoid all those rock type attacks and not really having a weakness, except for I think grass types or something like that, or I don't know. Rotom Wash can be extremely bulky, kind of like how Matt's was last week. It's just one of those really bulky Mons. It can be specs, it can be scarfed as well, it could be trick scarf, which is super scary. But all in all, I feel like if he does bring it, it's going to be a more bulky set, probably a more physically bulky set to take on stuff like our Infernape and all that stuff, with Will-O-Wisp as well, just to slowly whittle down and essentially cripple our Mons that do go on this field. Next up, Mienshao. Probably one of his hardest hitting Pokemon on the team, and I think his fastest, if I'm not mistaken, as well. No, his second fastest. Has access to both Regenerator and Reckless. Both are incredibly hurtful abilities. Regenerator allowing him to get back 30% health anytime he switches out, which Mienshao does get access to U-Turn, as well as Reckless just ups its destructive power so much. High jump kick, no matter what variant, even on a fully physically defensive Aggron, 2 shots. So that's extremely scary. Cloyster is up next. Cloyster, usually seen for its shell smashing ability, has like a base 180 defense, very high defense, but can't really take much on the special side, as well as it's water and ice type, not just water type, so it does make it more susceptible to many different types of attacks and not just the electric grass and all the things that water is weak to. But if it does set up a what's it called, a shell smash, it does have the skill link ability, allowing it to hit things like rock blast, like icicle, spear, multiple, I mean all 5 times, which is going to be very problematic. Next up is Jellicent. Jellicent is really difficult to handle this week for us, for sure, just because of that water absorb ability, giving it health back, as well as being able to, it could also run Curse Body if it wants to, disabling moves if we attack it, and it can be any move that you attack it with, which is actually really scary. But can run Energy Ball, can run Will-O-Wisp, can run Recover, Toxic Stall, and all in all, it's going to be a very difficult Mon to get around this week if he does decide to bring it. Vileplume. Vileplume is one of those Mons I'm not sure about. Prez really likes his different Mons. It's a Poison Grass type. It's usually seen as a defensive set. I know, of course, it gets Grass Poison type moves. I think it also gets Moonblast or Dazzle Gleam, one of those two, if I'm not mistaken. But all in all, I'm not really sure what else this thing can do, so, if he does bring it, we will have to be careful around it. But all in all, I feel like if it does come, we have the right Pokemon to handle it, even so. Next up is Mega Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir is a Pokemon that I know all too well, as I had it 2 seasons in the LDL. Base 100, base 100 speed, I think like 135, 145 special attack, something crazy like that. It hits super, super hard. Hyper Voice, Psy Shock, Energy Ball, Thunderbolt. He's definitely gonna have four moveslot syndrome. While you know he can just slap on a Hyper Voice and just deal a huge amount of damage. If we do bring Mega Aggron, he is going to have to carry Focus Blast. In order to do that, he may not be able to have a really nice counter for, let's say, what's it called? For like Florges, or it might not be able to carry Shadow Ball or Energy Ball for Slowbro, even though Hyper Voice might be doing a lot. But it's still extremely scary. It's a very powerful wall breaker on his team. If he does decide to bring it, I'm more so worried about a Calm Mindset. If that is the case, I don't know. Having a Calm Mindset, Mega Gardevoir is very, very scary because he could potentially set up on a lot of things. So it's just a very scary mon, and being on the other end of the stick now, facing it, I understand why it's so hard to plan for this thing. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna X out of my Facebook so it doesn't stop. So it stops dinging in the back. Next up, we have Savali. Savali, 95 space stats across the board, able to access to any of its what's it called? Memories, being able to become any type. So if he does bring one, I'm gonna have the whole entire chart out so I can figure out what color matches up with what type. If he does decide just to bring it the normal type to actually have an item on it, I do potentially see it being Scarfed or Assault Vested, just because the extra bulk is very, very nice. As well as he could potentially bring a Banded Explosion on turn 1, because that's usually like the go-to set for Savali, because he can't really do anything else. But then again, it does have a very wide move pool: Flamethrower, Dark Pulse, Crunch. I know it can get Swords Dance, so those are definitely things we will have to watch out for, as well as Iron Head. Next up is another one of those mons I'm not sure about, is Toucannon. Very, very slow mon. I think it's by base 60, base 65 speed. But it does get access to a couple of interesting moves, one of those being Beak Blast. If he does activate it with a Mental Herb, it's going to be very problematic, or if he chooses not to, and we attack it, we do get the burn on a Pokemon. So it's something that we will have to be extremely careful for if he does decide to bring it. That is definitely something I do have to look out for. Otherwise, the Scarf variant, could actually be problematic to some degree, as it can hit extremely, extremely hard. Now, this does say Torterra here, but actually, Steven, he dropped Torterra and actually picked up a Scavalier, so we're going to be instead talking about that. A Scavalier is a wonderful addition to his team. It's another Steel type, but it works really, really well with Heatran, with that Flash Fire. That times 4 weakness to fire. It could at times be problematic, but with Rotom Heatran being able to pretty much soak up any of those hits, it's definitely going to be helpful. I love a Scavalier. It's one of my favorite Pokemon to actually use. Earthquake, Iron Head, Mega Horn, knockoff potentials. You could run it Assault Vest, you could run it Banded, honestly, you could run a lot of different things. You could even have the fire-reducing berry, which if Prez does bring, I have a feeling he will bring the Haban berry. I think that's what it's called. If it not, then I'm, you know what I mean. The fire-reducing berry. Very, very scary mon to plan for. So we'll just have to hit this thing hard enough or get it weak enough to just knock it out in one fell swoop. Because if we don't, it's going to be knocking something out in return. Then finally on his team is Dugtrio. Dugtrio is a very, very big issue on the for the team this week, just because it can Arena Trap. He can run that, but I feel like if he does Arena Trap, he has to run it Sashed instead of Scarfed, just because a lot of the things on our team can actually knock it out. So he has to be careful whether or not he wants to bring it, because we can knock it out easily, and we have to be careful. Otherwise, if we get the wrong mon trapped, we lose a wonderful member of our team. Sucker Punch, Earthquake, all that fun stuff. Rock Slide, Stone Edge. It's gonna hit extremely hard. But now let's go ahead and go over our team here. I have them up on the screen. I'll go ahead and put them up. As you guys do see, we're gonna start things off with bringing our Kelly, our Salamence because he believes he can fly. Rocking out with the Life Orb. Intimidate set. This is actually going to be a mixed set, just because going down the moves just really quick. Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Flamethrower, Outrage. I wanted to make them special just because that Flamethrower for what's it called? A Scavalier is going to be extremely helpful. Earthquake really handles a lot of things on his side of the field. The Heatran, the Mienshao, Cloyster, Vileplume, and even the Doug Trio all take over 50% if I'm not mistaken. Dragon Claw picks up the kill on some of those other things, or at least can hit it. Rotom Wash. Oh, Earthquake can also hit the Mega Gardevoir. Earthquake can actually almost knock out the Cloyster as well. The Savali will be able to eat up a couple of hits, but that's why we do have Outrage on there. The Outrage is there just in case we need that extra push, and if Mega Gardevoir is gone and he's fearing that Flamethrower from our Salamence, then that's going to be good as well. I will say that I am very nervous about using this set. It's 252 attack, 252 speed, hasty nature, so we don't lose anything in our special attack at all. So very interesting set. 4 in HP, just to give it an odd number at level 50, just in case he does decide to bring rocks. But yeah, Intimidate's definitely going to help out, especially for the Mienshao, for the Cloyster, for the Savali if he decides to bring it, the Escavalier, the Doug Trio. So it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting here. Next up, we have Bruh making his return after tanking it out last week. So I'm happy to bring him back. He's holding leftovers this week with Regenerator. And we are going with the Calm Mind set here, being able to really eat up any of the offensive hits that can be thrown our way with the Mienshao, with the Cloyster, with the Savali, the Toucannon as well, the Escavalier. This is probably the only one that might be able to have some possible chance of knocking us out. Even Doug Trio, if it's adamant nature, won't be able to two-shot. I think the most it can do is 43%, so we'll be able to Calm Mind up in his face if that's what he decides to do. If any Mon wants to be trapped, it's going to be Slowbro, because I can slack off any damage and go for a Calm Mind the following turn, which is going to be really nice. Scald Psyshock is there for general coverage. The only thing that really tanks it is going to be the Jellicent. I'll have to get up a few Calm Minds to actually do some damage with Psyshock, as I won't be able to touch it with Scald. Rotom Wash as well is going to be problematic for that Calm Mind setup. I think I have to be at least +2, if not +3, to guarantee I live a Thunderbolt from an offensive Rotom. So all in due time. It's there just in case. I debated whether or not I wanted to put pardon me, if I wanted to put Shadow Ball on here instead of the Shadow Ball instead of Psyshock, but Psyshock is just there in case for the Vileplume. If we are able to get up a couple Calm Minds, we will be able to tank hits, and the Psyshock will help me put a dent in it if it does decide to come. Because, like I said, I'm not sure what potential moves the Vileplume can have, so just having that is just a safety precaution. Moving on, next is going to be probably our big win condition this week. In fact, I do believe it will be our win condition. It's going to be Corsage, our Roserade, I should say, holding the Choice Scarf. I was looking over, just looking at his team, there's a lot of things that Roserade can take care of. And so I just have the feeling like if we're able to weaken things just even by a little bit, then we are going to be able to put on a lot of work with this Pokemon. So one of my main ways to hit Gardevoir as hard as I can, as quick as I can, guaranteed to outspeed it with the Scarf, Leaf Storm, Energy Ball, Hidden Power, Fire, Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb, of course, for the Mega Gardevoir. Not really for anything else. Maybe for the Doug Trio, I know I can do a lot of damage there. Or Energy Ball. Let's be honest, Roserade can handle it. But Leaf Storm and Energy Ball are on there for two different reasons. Leaf Storm is definitely going to be there for the power, and Energy Ball is going to be there if I can safely come in, click Energy Ball, and guarantee the sweep for the rest of the game, or guarantee the kill without having to lower my special attack by 2 stages. Hidden Power Fire, of course, obviously going to be there for the Savali. I think after Rock's damage, we actually have the potential to knock out, so that's something to keep in mind. And this thing can easily handle Rotom any day of the week. So it's going to be really, really nice to have this thing on here. I went with Technician just to boost up that power of Hidden Power Fire, and if we get a Poison off on Mega Gardevoir, then that limits his availability and usage of it, which is going to be really, really nice. If I had to trade Mega Gardevoir for our Rose Raid, I would say that's totally worth it. The way we win this, though, with Corsage is the Heatran is the only thing that honestly walls me. It's one of those things where it's like I either had to run Hidden Power Ground or Hidden Power Fire, and I feel like the matchup between Corsage and Escavalier was going to be a lot higher than Heatran. But no, have no worries though. Coming up next on our team, we have Periwinkle making her debut, holding the leftovers again. Flower Veil is just a useless ability. This Pokemon honestly has useless abilities, which kind of sucks for singles. But all in all, it's going to be really, really nice. It's a mixed defensive set. 252 HP, 152 special defense, 100 defense, 4 in special attack, bold nature. I believe that is to guarantee we live something on the physical side. I believe that was for the poison jab from the Mienshao. Can't two-shot us after leftovers. I think that's what it was. But it only has Energy Ball as its attacking move. Energy Ball really covers everything except for the Heatran and the Vileplume. But it hits everything, and I guess you could technically say the Escavalier, but all in all, it handles everything extremely, extremely well. Aromatherapy, just in case for those burns, for those poisons that could come out of nowhere. Wish Protect, just to have longevity on it, and to Wish Pass on other things. Pretty standard. But Energy Ball, out of all the other moves that I could have possibly put on it, I feel Energy Ball was the best all around to hit everything. Seeing as how he has Rotom, he has 3 water types and a ground type, and it hits Mega Gardevoir decently as well, so I can't complain about that. Coming up next, we have Jack, who wasn't able to put in a lot of work last week, but I feel actually no, Jack did a little bit decent work last week. He was able to break down some walls really nicely. So here. For Jack, he's going to be holding the Electrium Z just for that power. He's going to be just a huge powerhouse for us this week. Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, of course. Shadow Ball is going to be there for the Mega Gardevoir, for the Jellicent. For the Mega Gardevoir and for the Heatran primarily. But if we want to bluff the fact that we are not Scarf and we are Electrium Z, I have the Hidden Power Ground for Heatran just in case. Because if we bring, I don't know. I felt like Hidden Power Ground on Jolteon was going to be better instead of putting it for Hidden Power Fire for Escavalier. Like I said, it's just like one of those situations where I feel like Heatran coming in on Jolteon makes a little bit more sense, or just pops up like that. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And if what is it? I did the calc, and I think that if he's a bulkier set of Heatran, and he goes for Earth Power, he won't be able to knock out Jolteon. So that's going to be really, really nice. But 180 in speed, Timid Nature, to outspeed that Dugtrio by 1 point, which is so nice. Followed up by 252 special attack, 4 in special defense, 72 in HP. It's just a powerful hitting mon. We stop the Rotom from Volt switching around. It's going to be really, really nice. One thing I do have to say, though, is Prez does carry the Waterium Z, which he can pair really, really nicely with his 3 water types, or any other Pokemon that could potentially have a water move. I'm not sure what other ones can. But like Hydro Pump, Rotom could be very, very likely out of nowhere, expecting the Volt Switch. I swap in and he goes for the Hydro Vortex on us. That could be something. So I'll have to keep in mind some things when making switches in the game. But last but not least, making his return is going to be Hiruzen. Switching it up this week, Hiruzen is going to be a focus sash set to get up with the stealth rocks, because there's a lot of things that he could sash on his team. He could sash the Mienshao, he could sash the Cloister to get up the, what's it called, the Shell Smash. He could sash the Doug Trio for the trapping stuff and guaranteed to live one hit. I mean, it's what it is. Stealth Rocks helps us get some of those damage rolls in our better favor over, and it's going to be a special set. Just realizing that for a lot of his mons, that there's not, I don't know, there's just like, when it comes to the physical side of things, he can really tank out a lot of stuff, and Vacuum Wave priority is going to be nice if we do get caught in by the Doug Trio. I'll be able to break a sash, say if we do leads like that. Grass Knot, of course, is there for a lot of the grass types that he does have. I mean, water types he does have. And Overheat's just there for general damage. And having Focus Sash being Blaze Natured will be really, really nice, because Blaze will activate at that point, and that Overheat's power is going to go through the roof. 236 in speed, just to guarantee to outspeed that Mega Gardevoir by 1 point. He will be fearing the Gunk Shot, I feel. I debated heavily whether or not I should have made this mixed or something, which is why we are Naive Nature. I forgot to change that when I set that into my Jenner, so oops on my part. I should have changed him to a Timid Nature, but oh well. 252 special attack, 16 HP, 4 in special defense. I'm just now realizing that I messed up there. Oh darn, that sucks. But it's whatever. He's not meant to be Hiruzen's not here to really be around too much. Vacuum Wave also helps with the Heatran to guarantee any substitutes are broken. So that's extremely, extremely nice. And all in all, if Hiruzen can get up the rocks, then he's honestly done his job. I said this when in the draft recap videos, like, I wanted to make sure that I use Infernape to its biggest, fullest advantage, using it many different ways. And last week he was Scarf, this week he's going to be Assistance. So there's our team, you guys. Let me know down below what you guys think about the team, what you feel I should have brought. Just going over the rest of our roster really quick. Let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this over just so we can see. Just going over some of the mons that I didn't bring, the reasons why I didn't want to bring them. Hold on. Because I feel like you guys do deserve some kind of explanation as to why I didn't want to bring some mons. So Crocodile would have been nice, but for like the double Intimidate, but at the same time having all those water types, Vileplume is a grass type, being caught from Doug Trio wouldn't have served him any good, as well as just I don't know, just like I just don't feel like he had a good matchup. Mismagius could have come. Mismagius could have been there instead of Jolteon, but I feel like Mismagius just didn't have the wide enough move pool to guarantee a lot of different kills. Scyther, there was no way I was bringing him. There was just too many different obstacles in his way. And if any priority moves came up, or if he ever got caught by Doug Trio, then we would have been in a whole mess of trouble. This is a big one. Mega Aggron, I didn't want to bring. Just having the threats of Heatran and a Mienshao there, and a potential Focus Blast to hit from Mega Gardevoir. It just, Mienshao High Jump Kick just did too much, and I feel like it would have been too predictable to bring the Mega Aggron, and so I hope that I'm throwing Prez a curveball by not bringing it. So, and then Komala, I usually want to think of bringing Komala alongside Scyther or like my heavy rock weak mons. So Kamala's just gonna take the back bench right now. But that's gonna be it, you guys. So I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm actually gonna be facing Prez right after this, so you guys will be seeing these videos the day after the other, hopefully. So I'm gonna get up out of here. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Sunbrother2. I'll see you in the next one.